Captain Ji-won stood on the bridge of her ship, watching the stars through the main window. The Harmony's Dawn was not a big ship, but it was home to her and her crew. They had been traveling through space for 3 months now, looking for new planets and life forms for the Galactic Federation. Ji-won was proud of her mixed crew. There was Thektar, her science officer who looked like a giant insect with 4 arms and shiny green skin. His people were very smart and loved to study everything. Then there was Hyun-woo, a blue-skinned alien who could hear sounds from very far away. He ran the communication systems and could speak 12 different alien languages. The rest of the crew came from 6 different worlds. They all worked together peacefully, just like the Federation wanted. War was something from the old days. Now different species helped each other explore space and share knowledge. "Captain," Thektar called from his station. His voice made a clicking sound when he talked. "I am picking up strange readings from the next star system." Ji-won walked over to look at his screen. "What kind of readings?" "Energy signatures I have. Never seen before. Very powerful. The computers cannot identify them." This was strange. The Federation had been exploring space for over 1,000 years. Their computers knew almost every type of energy and technology used by known species. "Could it be a new species?" Ji-won asked. Thektar's 4 eyes blinked one by one. "Maybe. But these energy levels are much higher than normal. Higher than anything we have in our records." Ji-won thought for a moment. The star system they were heading to was supposed to be empty. No planets with life, no space stations, nothing. But if there was a new species there, the Federation needed to know about it. "Set course for the system," she ordered, "but keep us at a safe distance. We go in slow and careful." The ship changed direction and moved toward the strange signals. As they got closer, Hyun-woo started picking up more information with his equipment. "Captain, I am hearing communication signals," he said, his large ears moving as he listened carefully. "Many ships talking to each other. Can you understand what they are saying?" "No. This is not any language in our databases, but they sound angry, like they are fighting." Ji-won felt worried. Fighting meant war, and war was not supposed to happen anymore, at least not between Federation members. "Put it on the main speakers," she ordered. Strange voices filled the bridge. The language was harsh and full of sharp sounds. Even though no one could understand the words, the tone was clear. These beings were not happy. "Thektar, how many ships are we looking at?" The insect-like alien worked at his controls. His 4 arms moved very fast over the buttons and screens. "Scanning now, Captain. The numbers are... This cannot be right." "What is it?" "I count over 500 ships. Large ones. Much bigger than anything the Federation has." Ji-won felt her heart beat faster. 500 ships was more than most Federation fleets, and they were big ships too. "Take us closer, but keep us hidden behind that asteroid field," she said. The Harmony's Dawn moved carefully between the floating rocks. When they got close enough to see clearly, everyone on the bridge became very quiet, spread out in front of them was the largest fleet of warships anyone had ever seen. The ships were black and covered in sharp points. They looked like they were made for fighting and nothing else. But that was not the worst part. The worst part was what they were doing. 3 planets in the system were burning. Cities that had been there for hundreds of years were now just fire and smoke. Millions of people had lived on those worlds. Now there was nothing. "By the stars," Thektar whispered. "They destroyed everything." Ji-won watched in horror as the black ships fired their weapons at the planets. Each blast was so powerful it could destroy an entire city. The aliens were not just attacking military targets, they were killing everyone. "Captain," Hyun-woo said, his voice shaking, "I am picking up emergency signals from the planets. Survivors are calling for help. Can we help them? There are too many enemy ships. We would be destroyed in seconds." Ji-won knew he was right, but it was hard to watch. These aliens were not just conquering planets. They were erasing entire civilizations. "Are they taking prisoners?" she asked. Thektar checked his sensors. "No, Captain. They are loading something onto their ships, but it is not people. It looks like..." Resources. Metal, water, food. They are stripping the planets of everything useful. What about the people? The people are... Thektar stopped talking. He did not need to finish. Everyone understood. Suddenly alarms started going off on the bridge. One of the enemy ships had spotted them. "They see us," Yunwu shouted. "3 ships are coming this way very fast." "All power to engines," Jiwan ordered. "Get us out of here." The Harmony's Dawn turned and ran as fast as it could, but the enemy ships were faster. Much faster. The first enemy blast hit their shields. The whole ship shook like it was falling apart. "Shields down to 60%, someone yelled. Another blast hit them. This time lights went out all over the bridge. "Hull damage on deck 3, we are losing air." Jiwan held onto her chair as the ship shook again. "How long until we can jump to hyperspace?" "Engine core is damaged. We need 5 more minutes." They did not have 5 minutes. The enemy ships were getting closer, and their weapons were too powerful. "Captain!" Thektar called out. "The enemy is sending a message." "Put it on screen." A face appeared on the main display. It was not like any alien they had seen before. The skin was gray and covered in scars. The eyes were completely black. When it spoke, its voice was cold and without feeling. "Federation. Ship," it said in perfect Federation standard. "You have seen too much. Prepare to die." The communication ended. "They know our language," Jiwan said. "They have been watching us." Another blast hit the ship. This time the damage was serious. Fires started in several sections. "Captain, we have to do something," Yunwu said. "The engines will not hold much longer." Jiwan looked around the bridge. Her crew was scared, but still working. They trusted her to save them. But what could she do against ships this powerful? Then she remembered something from her training at the Federation Academy. There was an emergency protocol that no captain wanted to use. It was for situations where the entire Federation was in danger. "Yunwu," she said, "open the emergency communication channel, all frequencies." "Captain, that includes the restricted channels, the ones that go to the quarantine zones." "I know. Do it." Hyunwoo's hands shook as he worked at his controls. "Channel open, Captain." Jiwan took a deep breath. She knew that sending a message on the restricted channels would get her in trouble with Federation Command. But if these enemy aliens were as dangerous as they seemed, the Federation needed all the help it could get. "This is Captain Jiwan of the Federation vessel Harmony's Dawn," she said into the communication system. "We are under attack by unknown hostile forces. They have destroyed 3 Federation colonies and are moving toward the core worlds. We estimate over 500 enemy warships, all heavily armed. They are killing civilians and taking resources. This is a threat to all life in the galaxy. We are requesting immediate assistance from any and all available forces. This message is being sent on all emergency frequencies, including restricted channels. Please respond, we need help." The message was sent out into space, traveling faster than light to reach every corner of the galaxy. Most of it went to Federation worlds and fleets, but part of it went somewhere else. It went to a small yellow star system that had been marked, with warning signs in every known language. It went to the place where humanity lived. Another enemy blast hit the Harmony's Dawn. This time, the ship started to break apart. "Hull breach on multiple decks," someone shouted. "We cannot take much more." Jiwan looked at the enemy ships getting closer. She had done everything she could. Now she could only hope that someone, somewhere, had heard their call for help. The enemy ships prepared to fire their final shots. Deep in the Sol system, Admiral Minsu was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm started going off. He was on the bridge of the UES Defiance, the newest and most powerful ship in the human fleet. The ship was so big, it looked more like a flying city than a spacecraft. "What is it?" Minsu asked, setting down his coffee cup. Lieutenant Hana ran over to his chair. She was young but very smart with computers and alien languages. "Sir, we just received an emergency transmission from outside the quarantine zone." Minsu felt surprised. No alien had contacted humanity in over 50 years. After the first contact incident, the aliens had built a wall of space stations around the human system. Big signs in every alien language said the same thing. Danger, Deathworld species. Do not approach. Are you sure it is real and not some kind of test? Minsu asked. I have checked it 3 times, sir. The signal is definitely from a Federation ship. They are asking for help. Hana put the message on the main screen. Everyone on the bridge listened. As the alien captain begged for help, the voice was full of fear and desperation. 500 warships, Minsu said quietly, destroying entire planets. Sir, there is more, Hana said. I have been tracking other Federation communication channels. These attackers, they call themselves the Void Hunters. They have already destroyed 6 star systems. Billions of people are dead. Minsu stood up and walked to the big window that showed the stars. Earth was visible in the distance, blue and green and beautiful. His home world, the world that other aliens were afraid of. Get me a connection to Earth Command, he ordered. Within minutes, the faces of important human leaders appeared on screens around the bridge. There was General Taehyun from the military, President Somin from the civilian government, and several other commanders. You all heard the message? Minsu asked. We did, President Somin said. Her voice was calm, but her eyes looked worried. The question is, what do we do about it? General Taehyun spoke up. We have to help them. These Void Hunters will not stop with the Federation. If they are taking resources from every planet they attack, they will eventually come here. But if we break quarantine, the Federation will see it as an act of war, President Somin said. The Federation might not exist much longer if we do nothing, Minsu replied. They talked for an hour about what to do. Some people wanted to stay hidden and hoped the Void Hunters would not find Earth. Others wanted to help, but were scared of starting a war with the Federation. Finally, Minsu made a decision. I am sending a scout ship to see what we are dealing with. If these Void Hunters are as dangerous as they seem, we cannot ignore them. Who are you sending? General Taehyun asked. Captain Young-ho and the Shadow's Edge. Everyone nodded. Captain Young-ho was the best stealth ship commander in the human fleet. If anyone could get close to the enemy without being seen, it was him. 2 hours later, the Shadow's Edge left the solar system. It was a small black ship that could hide from most sensors. Captain Young-ho and his crew of 12 were experts at getting information without being caught. The trip took 3 days. When they arrived at the area where the Void Hunters were attacking, Captain Young-ho could not believe what he saw. Count them again, he told his sensor officer. Sir, I have counted 5 times. There are 800 enemy ships now, more keep arriving. Young-ho watched through his ship's cameras as the Void Hunters destroyed another planet. They did not just attack the cities. They cracked the planet open and took everything inside. The metal, the water, even the air. When they were done, there was nothing left but floating rocks. What about the people? Young-ho asked. Sir, I am not picking up any human life signs on their ships. I think they kill everyone. Young-ho had fought in many battles, but this was different. These aliens were not fighting a war. They were harvesting entire civilizations like farmers harvesting crops. He watched as the enemy loaded huge amounts of materials onto their ships. Each Void Hunter vessel was the size of a city, with massive cargo holds. They took everything: metal for building more ships, water for fuel, and organic matter for food. Sir, we need to leave, his pilot said. More enemy ships are coming. Captain. Young-ho nodded, but he kept watching the screens as his ship turned to go home. In 3 days, he had seen the Void Hunters destroy 12 planets, 12 worlds where billions of people had lived and worked and loved their families. When the Shadow's Edge returned to Earth, Captain Young-ho went straight to the command center. All the important leaders were waiting for him. How bad is it? Admiral Minsu asked. Worse than we thought, sir. Much worse. Young-ho put his data on the big screens around the room. Everyone became very quiet as they looked at the pictures and numbers. They are not just conquerors, Young-ho said. They are consumers. They eat entire civilizations. Not the people, but everything the people built. Every city, every farm, every factory. They take it all and use it to make more ships and weapons. How many ships do they have now? General Taehyun asked. Over 800 that I could see, but their fleet is still growing. They are building new ships using the materials they steal from destroyed planets. President Soman looked at the data. What about the Federation? Are they fighting back? They tried, ma'am. I watched a Federation battle group attack the Void Hunters. 30 Federation ships against 50 enemy ships. What happened? The Federation ships were destroyed in less than 10 minutes. Their weapons could not get through the enemy shields. Their own shields could not stop the enemy weapons. The room became very quiet. Everyone understood what this meant. The Federation has been peaceful for so long. They forgot how to fight. A real war, Admiral Minsu said. What about their allies? President Soman asked. Surely other species will help them. Captain Young-ho shook his head. I intercepted some of their communications. Most Federation species are running away. They are moving their people and ships as far from the Void Hunters as possible. General Taehyun stood up and walked to the star map on the wall. If the Void Hunters keep moving in the same direction, how long until they reach our quarantine zone? Young-ho did some quick math in his head. At their current speed, about 6 months, sir. And if they keep growing their fleet by taking resources from planets they destroy, they could have thousands of ships by then. President Soman rubbed her forehead. So our choices are, help the Federation now while we still can, or wait for the Void Hunters to become too strong to stop. There is something else, Captain Young-ho said. I listened to some of their communications. The Void Hunters know about us. What do you mean? Admiral Minsu asked. They have been watching the quarantine zone. They know there is a species here that other aliens are afraid of. They are curious about us. General Taehyun smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Curious about humans. That could be their first mistake. President Soman looked around the room at all the military commanders. If we do this, if we break quarantine to fight these Void Hunters, there is no going back. The Federation will know we exist. They will know what we can do. They are going to know anyway, Admiral Minsu said, either when we save them or when the Void Hunters bring our technology to them after they destroy Earth. The debate continued for hours. Some leaders wanted to find a peaceful solution. Others wanted to attack immediately. But everyone agreed on one thing. The Void Hunters could not be allowed to continue. Finally, President Soman made her decision. Admiral Minsu, you have permission to break quarantine. Assemble a task force and go help the Federation. But remember, we are not just representing Earth anymore. We are representing humanity. Admiral Minsu saluted. Understood, ma'am. We will show the galaxy what humans can do when our friends are in danger. Just try not to scare the Federation too much, President, Soman said with a small smile. I cannot promise that, ma'am. Within hours, the human fleet was moving. Ships that had been hidden in asteroid fields and behind planets came out of hiding. The quarantine zone, which other aliens thought was empty except for warning beacons, was actually full of human warships. Admiral Minsu stood on the bridge of the Defiance and watched his fleet form up around him. 50 ships of different sizes and designs. Some were built for fighting. Others were converted civilian ships with new weapons. All of them were crewed by humans who had been waiting 50 years for a chance to show what they could do. Set course. For Federation space, Minsu ordered. Maximum speed. Sir, Lieutenant Hana said, what should I tell the Federation when they ask who we are? Admiral Minsu looked out at the stars ahead. Somewhere out there, aliens were dying because no one knew how to fight a real war. Tell them, he said, that the humans are coming. Captain Borum sat in the dark cockpit of her stealth ship, watching the enemy fleet through her sensors. The Silent Death was one of 6 human stealth ships that had arrived 3 days before the main fleet. Their job was simple. Make the void. Hunters afraid. Target acquired, her weapons officer whispered. Void Hunter command ship, 3rd row, left side. Borum studied the target. It was huge, bigger than anything humans had ever built. But size meant nothing if you could not see death coming. Fire torpedo, she ordered quietly. A small, silent weapon left the Silent Death and moved toward the enemy ship. It was designed to look like space debris until the last second. The Void Hunter ship never knew it was there. The explosion was beautiful and terrible. The massive enemy ship broke in half, its lights going out one by one. Hundreds of Void Hunter crew members died instantly. "One down," Borum said. "Find the next target." This had been happening for 3 days. Void Hunter ships would simply disappear from their formation. The enemy commanders could not understand what was happening. They had never fought an enemy that could hide this well. On the main Void Hunter command ship, General Vorak was getting angry. He had conquered 50 star systems and no one had ever been able to fight back like this. "How many ships have we lost?" he demanded. 12 command vessels, sir, plus 20 support ships. "And we still cannot see the enemy?" "No, sir. Our sensors show nothing. The ships just explode." General Vorak hit his control panel with his clawed fist. "Find them. Use every scanner we have." But the human stealth ships were too good at hiding. They had been designed to fight enemies with better technology. The Void Hunters were powerful, but they fought like bullies. They were used to winning through strength, not cleverness. Meanwhile, the human main fleet was getting closer. Admiral Minsu stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching the reports from Captain Borum's stealth squadron. "How are our friends doing?" he asked Lieutenant Hana. "Captain Borum reports 15 enemy ships destroyed, sir. No human losses." "And the Void Hunters?" "They are scared, sir. Our listening posts are picking up their communications. They do not understand what is attacking them." Admiral Minsu smiled. Fear was a powerful weapon, sometimes better than guns or missiles. "Sir," Commander Jinwoo said from the tactical station, "we are receiving a communication from the Federation ship that sent the original distress call." "The one that got away?" "Yes, sir. The Harmony's Dawn. Their captain Jiwan wants to talk." "Put her on screen." The alien captain appeared on the main display. She looked tired and scared, but also curious. "This is Captain Jiwan of the Federation." "Vessel Harmony's Dawn," she said. "We have been monitoring the Void Hunter fleet. Their ships are being destroyed by an unknown force. Are you responsible?" Admiral Minsu stepped forward. "This is Admiral Minsu of the human fleet." "Yes, Captain. We received your distress call. We are here to help." Captain Jiwan's eyes went wide. "Human, but your species is quarantined. You are supposed to be dangerous." "We are dangerous, Captain, but only to our enemies." "How many ships do you have?" Admiral Minsu looked at his display, showing the human fleet spread out across several light years. "Enough." The truth was, Admiral Minsu had brought 50 ships. The Void Hunters had over 800. In normal space battle, humans would be badly outnumbered. But humans did not fight normal space battles. "Captain Jiwan," Admiral Minsu said, "we need you to evacuate all Federation civilians from this area. What we are about to do will not be safe for non-combatants." "What are you going to do?" Admiral Minsu's smile was not reassuring. "We are going to teach the Void Hunters why other species are afraid of humans." The first sign of the human attack was not ships or weapons. It was a message sent to every Void Hunter vessel on all frequencies. "This is Admiral Minsu of the human fleet," the message said. "You have attacked peaceful civilizations and murdered billions of innocent people. You have made your choice. Now face the consequences." General Vorak laughed when he heard the message. "Humans, the species that hides behind warning beacons, how many ships do they have?" "Sensors show 50 human vessels approaching, sir." 50? Vorak laughed harder. "We have 800 ships. Destroy them all." But when the human fleet arrived, nothing happened the way Vorak expected. The human ships did not form neat battle lines like Federation fleets did. They came from all directions at once, moving fast and unpredictably. Some attacked head-on, others came from the sides, and still others attacked from above and below. Commander Jinwoo led the first wave in his converted cargo ship Fury's Edge. It had been a peaceful trade vessel once, but now it carried enough explosives to destroy a small moon. "Target the biggest ship you can find," Jinwoo told his crew. "Ram it." "Sir, ramming speed will destroy us too." "I know." Make sure we take them with us. This was the difference between humans and other species. Federation crews would retreat when their ship was badly damaged. Humans would use their dying ship as a weapon. The Fury's Edge crashed into a Void Hunter battleship at half the speed of light. Both ships disappeared in a ball of fire that could be seen from 3 star systems away. But Commander Jinwoo's sacrifice was just the beginning. Major Yunji led 12 fighter ships against the enemy fleet. Each fighter was small and fast, carrying just enough weapons to damage larger ships. But Major Yunji had a different plan. Remember your training, she told her pilots. We are not trying to win a fair fight. We are trying to break their minds. The human fighters attacked like a swarm of angry wasps. They would hit an enemy ship and disappear before return fire could find them. Then they would attack from a different direction. Then another. Each attack did little damage, but the Void Hunters started to panic. They could not predict where the next attack would come from. Their gun crews were firing at shadows and empty space. On the main command ship, General Vorak was losing control of his fleet. Why are our ships breaking formation, he demanded. The captains are scared, sir. The human attacks are coming from everywhere at once. Order them back into position. Sir, the humans are using tactics we have never seen. They attack and run away. They use their damaged ships as bombs. They fight like they are already dead. General Vorak did not understand. In every battle he had fought, enemies tried to protect their ships and crews. These humans seemed to care more about destroying Void Hunter ships than keeping themselves alive. What General Vorak did not know was that every human ship carried volunteers, men and women who had asked to be part of the most dangerous missions. They had families on Earth, people they loved, but they were willing to die to protect them. Captain Seokjin was one of these volunteers. His ship, the Earth's Vengeance, was badly damaged after fighting 3 enemy vessels. His engines were failing. His weapons were almost empty and half his crew was injured. Sir, his communications officer said, Admiral Minsu is ordering all damaged ships to retreat. Captain Seokjin looked at his tactical display. There was a massive Void Hunter ship nearby, one of their planet killers. If it reached Federation space, it could destroy entire worlds. Tell the Admiral we are staying, Seokjin said. All crew to escape pods except essential personnel. Sir, what are you doing? What humans do best, we protect our friends. The Earth's Vengeance turned toward the planet killer and accelerated to maximum speed. The escape pods launched, carrying most of the crew to safety. Captain Seokjin and 5 volunteers stayed behind to guide the ship. The collision destroyed both vessels. A planet killer that could have destroyed billions of people became a cloud of expanding gas and metal. This was why other species feared humans. Not because they were stronger or had better weapons, but because they would do anything to protect what they loved. Dr. Nari watched the battle from the medical ship Healing Light. She was a scientist, not a soldier, but she understood what the alien crew needed to know. Captain Jiwon, she said over the communication link, do you see what is happening? Your people are very brave, Captain Jiwon replied, but they are dying for us. Why? Because that is what humans do. On our world, we learned that sometimes you have to fight monsters, and to fight monsters you have to be willing to become something they fear more than death. I do not understand. Dr. Nari looked at the battle, where human ships were turning themselves into weapons against an enemy that had never faced such determination. Every species in the galaxy evolved from prey animals, Captain Jiwon. They learned to run, to hide, to negotiate. Humans evolved from predators. We learned to hunt, to fight, to never give up. When you threaten what we protect, we do not run. We come for you. The battle continued for 6 hours. When it was over, the Void Hunter fleet had lost over 200 ships. The human fleet had lost 28 ships, but those ships had died, protecting something bigger than themselves. General Vorak stared at his tactical display in disbelief. His mighty fleet, which had conquered dozens of star systems, had been hurt badly by 50 human ships. Sir, his communications officer said quietly, the humans are sending another message. What do they want now? They want to talk, sir. Admiral, Minsu says he has a proposition for you. General Vorak was curious despite himself. Put him on screen. Admiral Minsu appeared, standing calmly on his bridge. Behind him, human crew members worked quietly and efficiently. General Vorak did not retreat. He was too proud and too angry. 3 days after Admiral Minsu's warning, the Void Hunter fleet attacked again. This time, they brought everything they had. Admiral Minsu was ready for them. The second wave of human ships had arrived during the night, led by Fleet Admiral Kyung-ho aboard the massive carrier Terra's Wrath. The ship was so big it looked like a flying mountain, covered in weapons and fighter bays. "How many ships do we have now?" Admiral Minsu asked. 230 combat vessels, sir, Lieutenant Hana reported, plus 50 support ships. It was still not enough to match the Void Hunters in numbers, but Admiral Minsu was not planning to fight a fair battle. Humans had never fought fair battles. "Launch all fighters," Fleet Admiral Kyung-ho ordered from his ship. "Begin the Deathworld Protocol." Captain Ji-won watched from her Federation ship as thousands of small human fighters poured out of the carrier ships. But these were not like the fighters she had seen before. These moved differently, more aggressively. "Dr. Nari," she called to the human scientist, "what is the Deathworld Protocol?" Dr. Nari looked uncomfortable. "It is something we hoped we would never have to use, Captain. It is how humans fight when we have no choice but to win." The first sign of what was coming happened when Sergeant Do-hyun's marine transport reached a damaged Void Hunter ship. Instead of destroying it from outside, the human ship attached itself to the enemy vessel like a parasite. "Prepare for boarding action," Sergeant Do-hyun told his Marines. They were all wearing heavy armor and carrying weapons designed for close combat. The Federation had rules about boarding enemy ships. You were supposed to give the crew a chance to surrender. You were supposed to take prisoners. You were supposed to be humane. Humans had different rules. Sergeant Do-hyun's Marines cut through the hull of the Void Hunter ship with plasma torches. When they got inside, they moved like hunters tracking prey. They knew every corridor, every room, because they had studied captured ship designs for months. The Void Hunter crew tried to fight back, but they were not ready for what came at them. Humans did not just shoot at enemies from a distance. They came close where their strength and speed gave them advantages. Within 1 hour, Sergeant Do-hyun's 30 Marines had captured a ship with 300 enemy crew members. But they did not take prisoners. They took the ship's computer systems and left the crew floating in space. "Sir," the communications officer on General Vorak's command ship reported, "we have lost contact with the battleship Dark Victory." "What happened to it?" "Unknown, sir. The ship is still there, but no one is answering our calls." What General Vorak did not know was that Chief Engineer Dong-hyun was already inside the captured ship, studying Void Hunter technology. Within hours, he had learned how their shields worked, how their weapons operated, and most importantly, how their communication systems functioned. "This is interesting," Dong-hyun said as he examined the alien computer. "Their ships are all connected to a central command network." "What does that mean?" Admiral Minsu asked over the communication link. "It means if we can hack into one ship, we can probably hack into all of them." While the engineers worked on captured technology, Major Yoonji was leading her fighter squadrons in attacks that made no sense to the Void Hunters. Instead of targeting weapons or engines, the human fighters went after communication arrays and sensor systems. "Why are they attacking our sensors?" one Void Hunter captain asked. "That will not destroy our ship." But Admiral Minsu was not trying to destroy ships quickly. He was trying to make the enemy fleet blind and deaf. Ships that could not see or talk to each other could not work together. The real surprise came when Chief Engineer Dong-hyun finished his work on the captured Void Hunter systems. "Admiral," he reported, "I can now send false orders to any ship in their fleet. I can make them think commands are coming from their own generals." "Show me." Dong-hyun sent a test signal to a group of Void Hunter ships. Suddenly, 10 enemy vessels turned and began attacking their own fleet. "Magnificent," Admiral Minsu said. "How many ships can you control?" "All of them, sir. Their security is designed to keep outsiders from listening to their communications. They never imagined someone might send fake orders." This was another difference between humans and other species. Most aliens built their technology to work perfectly in ideal conditions. Humans built their technology expecting that someone would try to break it, steal it, or turn it against them. The battle became chaos as Void Hunter ships began receiving false orders. Some were told to attack empty space. Others were ordered to retreat to positions where human ships were waiting. A few were commanded to shut down their engines for maintenance in the middle of the battle. General Vorak realized what was happening, but it was too late. His fleet was no longer under his control. "Sir," his tactical officer said, "our ships are not responding to orders. Someone is jamming our command frequency. Use the backup channels." "They are jammed too, sir." "All of them." While the Void Hunter fleet fell apart, Colonel Wanbin was preparing for the most dangerous part of the human plan. His special assault team had been training for months to capture enemy command ships. "Remember," he told his soldiers as their stealth transport approached the largest Void Hunter vessel, "we are not here to destroy this ship. We are here to take it over completely." "Sir, there are over 1,000 enemy crew members on that ship." "I know. That is why we brought the fear gas." The fear gas was another human invention that shocked the Federation observers. It was not poison and would not kill anyone. Instead, it made the enemy feel overwhelming terror. Void Hunters who breathed, it would become too scared to fight. Colonel Wanbin's team attacked the enemy command ship from 6 different entry points at once. They moved through the corridors like ghosts, using gas grenades to clear each section. The Void Hunter crew, who had never felt real fear before, could not think clearly enough to organize a defense. Within 3 hours, Colonel Wanbin was sitting in the enemy general's command chair. "General Vorak," he said over the ship's communication system, "this is Colonel Wanbin of the human army. Your command ship now belongs to us." From his backup command post on a smaller ship, General Vorak stared at the screens showing his former flagship. Human soldiers were walking through the corridors of his most powerful vessel. "This is impossible," he said. "How did you take the ship so quickly?" "We have been planning this attack for 50 years, General. We know your ships better than you do." This was not exactly true, but it was close enough. Human intelligence agencies had been studying every piece of alien technology they could find since first contact. They had built copies of alien weapons, practiced fighting alien tactics, and prepared for every possible scenario. Dr. Nari explained this to Captain Jiwon, who was watching the battle with amazement. "Your people fight like they have done this before," Captain Jiwon said. "In a way, we have," Dr. Nari replied. "On Earth, every species learned to fight or die. Plants developed poisons, animals developed claws and teeth, humans developed intelligence and the ability to work together. But this level of preparation, Captain, your Federation has been peaceful for 1,000 years. That is wonderful. But humans have been at war for our entire history, not just with each other, but with our planet itself. Earth tried to kill us with ice ages, volcanic eruptions, plagues, and predators. We survived by becoming the most dangerous thing on our world." As if to prove her point, Wing Commander Yuna was demonstrating another human tactic that terrified the Void Hunters. Her fighter squadron was not trying to destroy enemy ships. Instead, they were capturing them. Each fighter carried special boarding pods filled with human marines. When a Void Hunter ship was damaged and slowing down, the fighters would attach their pods to the enemy hull and send soldiers inside. But these marines did not fight like normal soldiers. They had been trained in something humans called psychological warfare. "Attention, Void Hunter crew," the marines would announce over the ship's internal communication system. "This is the human army. We know where you are hiding. We know how many of you there are. We know which ones of you are commanders and which ones are just following orders." Then they would start hunting the crew through the corridors, but they would not kill everyone they found. Instead, they would capture some and let others escape. The ones who escaped would tell the rest of the crew how dangerous and unstoppable the humans were. Within hours, entire Void Hunter crews would surrender rather than face the human soldiers in close combat. "Sir," General Vorak's communications officer reported, "we have lost contact with 43 more ships. The crews are surrendering without fighting." General Vorak could not understand this. His people were warriors. They had conquered dozens of civilizations. How could they be so afraid of one species? The answer came when Fleet Admiral Kyung-ho demonstrated the final human tactic. His massive carrier ship moved close to the largest group of Void Hunter vessels and opened its cargo bays. Instead of fighters, what came out looked like metal seeds. Thousands of them, each no bigger than a person. "What are those?" General Vorak demanded. He found out quickly. Each metal seed was actually a small robot with artificial intelligence. They scattered through the enemy fleet and began attaching themselves to Void Hunter ships. General Vorak was desperate. His fleet was broken. His ships were controlled by human hackers, and his crew were surrendering faster than he could count. But he had one last weapon, something so terrible that he had hoped never to use it. "Activate the planet killers," he ordered. His remaining officers looked shocked. "Sir, those weapons will destroy everything in this system, including our own ships." "Better to die fighting than surrender to these humans," Vorak snarled. Deep in space, 3 massive Void Hunter ships began to move. Each one was the size of a small moon built for one purpose: to crack planets open like eggs. They had destroyed dozens of worlds, consuming everything useful and leaving only broken rocks behind. The planet killers were the Void Hunters' ultimate weapon. Nothing could stop them once they began their attack sequence. Admiral Minsu watched the giant ships approaching and felt his heart sink. His fleet had won the battle, but these 3 vessels could destroy every planet in the system. "Sir, Lieutenant," Hana reported, "the planet killers are powering up their main weapons. If they fire, they will destroy everything within 10 light hours. How long until they are ready to shoot?" 6 hours, sir." Admiral Minsu looked around his bridge at the men and women who had followed him into this battle. They had done the impossible, defeating a fleet 10 times their size, but it might not be enough. Then his communication system activated. "Admiral Minsu, this is Commander Ji-hyun." Admiral Minsu felt relieved. Commander Ji-hyun ran the Human Deep Space Monitoring Network, a secret system that had been watching alien activity for decades. "Commander, please tell me you have good news." "Better than good news, sir. We have been tracking the Void Hunters for 8 months. We know where all their ships are, where their supply bases are located, and most importantly, where their homeworlds are." "How is that possible?" "Sir, when you put warning signs around the solar system, other aliens thought we were dangerous but stupid. They thought we were hiding behind our warning beacons like scared children. They never imagined we were actually watching them." Admiral Minsu smiled. This was why humans had survived on their dangerous home planet. They never trusted that being left alone meant being safe. "What else do you have for me, Commander?" "Captain Seokjin's Black Operations teams have been very busy, sir. For the past 5 years, they have been inserting agents into Void Hunter supply lines. Every piece of equipment, every weapon, every spare part that the enemy fleet uses has been examined by human intelligence." "Are you telling me we knew this attack was coming?" "We knew they were planning something big, sir. We just did not know they would be stupid enough to attack the Federation while we were watching." This was the real secret of human military doctrine. While other species prepared for the wars they expected to fight, humans prepared for every war they might possibly face. Admiral Minsu opened his communication channels to the entire human fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Minsu. Execute Operation Deathworld." Across the battle zone, human ships began to move in ways that confused their alien observers. Instead of attacking the planet killers directly, they spread out in a complex pattern around the massive enemy vessels. Captain Jiwon watched from her Federation ship, trying to understand what the humans were doing. "Dr. Nari," she called, "your fleet is not attacking the planet killers. Why?" "Because, Captain, attacking those ships directly would be exactly what the enemy expects. Humans do not do what enemies expect." "Then what are you doing?" Dr. Nari smiled. "We are turning the enemy's greatest strength into their greatest weakness." The first part of Operation Deathworld involved Captain Seokjin's Black Operations teams. For months, they had been sneaking special devices into Void Hunter supply shipments. These devices looked like normal computer components, but they were actually sophisticated hacking tools. "Captain Seokjin, to Admiral Minsu," came the voice over the communication system. "All sleeper programs are active, sir. We have access to enemy computer networks fleet-wide, including the planet killers, especially the planet killers, sir. Those ships use the most advanced Void Hunter technology, which means they have the most of our hidden programs. The second part of the operation involved something that made even the human crew nervous. Colonel Wanbin was leading a suicide mission to board the largest planet killer. Sir, his second-in-command said, even if we get inside that ship, there are 50,000 enemy crew members. We only have 200 Marines. Numbers do not matter, Colonel Wanbin replied, checking his equipment one last time. What matters is that they have never fought anyone like us. The third part involved Wing Commander Yuna's fighter squadrons, but instead of attacking with weapons, they were carrying something much more dangerous: human engineers. Remember, she told her pilots, get our people inside those ships alive. What happens after that is up to them. Chief Engineer Dong Yun was one of the engineers being carried toward the planet killers. His job was simple in concept, but almost impossible to execute. He had to reprogram the massive weapons to fire at each other instead of at the planets. Sir, his assistant said nervously, if we make even one mistake, these weapons will activate and destroy everything. Then we will not make mistakes, Dong Yun replied calmly. The attack began at exactly the same time on all three planet killers. Colonel Wanbin's Marines stormed aboard the command ship using tactics so aggressive that the enemy crew could not organize a defense. They moved like a pack of hunting animals, each Marine covering the others, all of them willing to die to complete their mission. At the same time, Wing Commander Yuna's fighters were delivering human engineers to critical locations on each massive ship. The engineers carried special equipment designed to interface with any alien computer system. But the most important part of the operation was happening in space around the planet killers. Admiral Minsu's ships were not running away from the massive weapons. Instead, they were getting as close as possible. Sir, Lieutenant Hana said nervously, if those planet killers fire while we are this close, we will all be destroyed. That is the point, Admiral Minsu replied. General Vorak thinks we are afraid to die. He is about to learn that humans are only afraid of one thing: failing to protect what we love. Inside the largest planet killer, Colonel Wanbin's Marines were fighting their way toward the command center. But they were not just fighting to win. They were fighting to send a message. Attention, Void Hunter crew, Colonel Wanbin announced over the ship's communication system. This is the human army. We have taken control of your weapon systems. You have 30 minutes to abandon ship before we turn your planet killer into a weapon against your own fleet. Some of the Void Hunter crew tried to stop the humans, but they discovered something terrifying. Human soldiers did not fight like any enemy they had faced before. Each Marine was willing to sacrifice themselves to protect their teammates. They covered each other's attacks, shared their ammunition, and never left anyone behind. Most importantly, they fought with a cold intelligence that scared the Void Hunters more than any weapon. Each human Marine seemed to know exactly where to go and what to do, as if they had trained for this specific mission their entire lives. They had. Chief Engineer Dong Yun reached the main control center of his target planet killer and immediately began working on the massive computer systems. His fingers moved over the alien controls with practiced skill. How do you know their systems so well? His assistant asked. We have been studying captured Void Hunter technology for years, Dong Yun replied without stopping his work. We know their computer language is better than most of their own engineers do. Within minutes, he had accessed the planet killer's targeting system. Instead of aiming at the nearby planets, he began reprogramming the massive weapon to target the other two planet killers. Sir, if we fire this weapon at the other planet killers, the explosion will destroy us too. I know, Dong Yun said quietly, but it will also save billions of lives on those planets. This was the final lesson that humans taught the Void Hunters. Sometimes the only way to win is to be willing to lose everything. At exactly the same moment, all three planet killers fired their weapons. But instead of destroying planets, they destroyed each other. The explosions were so bright they could be seen from neighboring star systems. Admiral Minsu watched from his ship as the three most powerful weapons in the Void Hunter fleet vanished in balls of fire. Sir, Lieutenant Hanna reported quietly, we have lost contact with all boarding teams. Admiral Minsu bowed his head. Colonel Wanbin, Chief Engineer Donghyun, Wing Commander Yuna, and hundreds of other brave humans had given their lives to protect alien worlds they had never seen. Captain Jinho, whose ship had been badly damaged in the battle, sent one final message before his vessel's reactor failed. Earth remembers. Tell our families we kept our promise. The explosion of his ship lit up the darkness like a new star. General Vorak stared at the empty space where his planet killers had been. His ultimate weapons, the tools that had destroyed dozens of civilizations, were gone. And the humans who had destroyed them had known they would die doing it. Sir, his communications officer said quietly, Admiral Minsu is sending a message. Put it on screen. The human admiral appeared, standing calmly on his bridge despite